haven't been this obsessed with anything. And that's basically, I'm trying to think, like, I don't want to stop talking about it. That's basically like, no, I'm going to talk about it some more. So really, 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 really good. Fantastic. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Taquisha Lachey, and if it is not your first time, thank you so much for returning. In today's video, we're talking about a few of my favorite things put into a duology that to me is just perfection. In this duology, we get Mafia, which you all know is some of my favorite things, Forced Proximity, Enemies to Lovers, Reverse Grumpy Sunshine, Slow Burn, and so much more. So without further ado, today's video, we're talking about the Anti-Heroes in Love duet by Gianna Darling. Let's get started. The first book is When Heroes Fall. This book is following Elena Lombardi and Dante Salvatore. It is a dual POV, which is one of my favorite things. The first book says, jilted by my fiance, a disappointment to my family, and haunted by my childhood traumas. I felt so much all my life that now I resolved to feel nothing at all. Until I met my match. They're literally each other's match. Sorry. As the most infamous mafioso of the 21st century, Dante Salvatore was madly passionate, unequivocally bad, and entirely too dangerous to know. He was everything I abhorred. Yet I found myself representing him in the biggest criminal trial of the decade. Elena Lombardi, let's start with her. She's, by the way, one of my favorite characters. And I just love her so much. Elena Lombardi is a lawyer. She is serious. She is fierce. She's cold. She is a villain of sorts. She craves success, but she loves fiercely, which is how the story starts. This story begins when she does a favor for her beloved younger sister, Kazi. Kazi asks of her to represent Dante Salvatore, who is Kazi's like best friend, a brother of sorts, and is literally her brother-in-law. And Elena cannot deny her anything, so she's willing to do this and represent someone who is literally everything that she abhors. He is in the mafia. She feels that the world is in black and white, and she only likes to deliver justice, so she just hates everything that he is, and that's where we start. Dante Salvatore is not only a mafioso, he is the capo of New York City, fiercely protective and loving person as well, and that's what they have in common. Forced proximity, so at some point she will have to live with him, which is amazing. This book is just fantastic. There is such great character growth. It has like an organic, to me, like falling in love story. It is absolutely, they're like my favorite couple of all time. There's drama, there's action. The spice is literally, to me, at like a 3.5 out of 5, and that's saying something because there's no smut, not even a kiss, which I don't want you to be torn off from this. There's still tension. Gianna is like a master at like having you like have such anticipation, and she builds, which I prefer. I think that's why I love Enemies to Lovers so much. So there's definitely tension, but the first kiss on page 326, and that's like so far in. We meet Elena at like a really bad time. She doesn't really believe in love anymore. She's kind of very jaded and villainized by her family for acts that happen in the other books. And yeah, she's at this point when we meet her, feels the weight and exhaustion of just being her every day. It's the third installment in the whole series. And the first book of this whole series is Giselle and Daniel's story, and I'm just gonna do a little thing of it because I did not read it, but it's called The Affair. Daniel is Elena's ex-fiance now, but in that he was currently her fiance, went on a work trip and met Giselle, not knowing that they were to be future in-laws, and that's the whole story. The series is called The Affair. So yes, when you get here, Elena is sort of not outcast from her family, but estranged from her family because of how that all was, even though she was the one who was like the victim, if you will. Because of her actions, her family considered her to be the villain. So that's why she's like a villain in this book. When you read this book, there are multiple reasons that she is the way she is, and like love has only hurt her. She's only had 2 relationships and both ended very badly. And so yeah, and Dante at first doesn't like her, but then he starts to see through this hard like steel veil with all these walls, and basically after a while decides to pursue her. Like, she does not know, but he's so smooth. And so that's Elena Lombardi. I love her. She's perfect. She's exquisite, okay? Dante Salvatore, he is, I think, such a balanced person. He is all things fire and passion. He's comfortable in himself. He's just really a great capo, okay? He's like a true capo. I've read a lot of books where the guy is a capo. He's better than them. He's my favorite mafia guy of all time. He's his own law, and he cares deeply for the people in his life. He has like his soldiers, which he kind of calls them his soldiers, and even like brought in this woman and her child, Bambi and Rora, and like helps take care of them, and she thinks of him as like her uncle. So he's like a kind guy, and that's very polarizing for Elena because she thinks of mafiosos as one thing. She did grow up in Italy and she has history with them. So yeah, Dante's very polarizing because he's obviously this huge imposing figure. He's described as like being 230 pounds and like 6'3" or 2". He's huge, okay? And he doesn't try to dress himself up as anything else. Takes an interest in her, and yeah, and it goes from there. Forced proximity comes into play at some point, and it's fantastic. The tension is great, like the way that it really builds and stews, and like by the time stuff happens you're like, finally. But at the same time, I appreciated it because she truly is grumpy, and it wouldn't have made sense any other way for her to like fall by 100 pages. But there's a slow dance, like I think it's described in the book as like death by 1,000 like touches, because he was just there, and it's fantastic. So yeah, she's representing him. He starts changing her view a little bit on things. Everything's not as black and white as she first kind of thought that it was. Yeah, past dangers come back into play, and that is essentially going to be the end of book 1, which is, like I said, fantastic. It's so hard. I don't think I could choose a favorite. This is tabbed, and it's not even tabbed as much as it should be. I think they're like, okay, it looks like they're not equal, but I promise you, I couldn't pick a favorite. Don't ask me. I would save them both in a fire. The second one, When Villains Rise, I think, okay, I will say I haven't reread it yet, but I have to skim these books at least every other day. I genuinely do. Like, I'll just skim. I skim through this more than through that, but that's because like I could reread this book probably 3 times a year, maybe more. But she's so unhappy for so much of this book. And it's not like it's like hard to read, but I don't like seeing Elena like that when I know she could be like this. So, you know, so I do read this one and skim through it more, but I adore both. The back of this one says, I am the hero no one wanted. I was a murderer, one of the cruelest and wealthiest men in New York City, Dante Salvatore, capo of capos. Yet I had one weakness, Elena Lombardi. Cold as ice, sharp as the edge of broken glass, and more beautiful than any woman should have the right to be. She stormed my defenses and razed my life as I knew it to the ground. For her, I would once again play the hero and prove myself worthy of her unconquerable heart. That's him. He genuinely he steps up to the plate. And I love even the start of their relationship that it was so intentional on his part. He was like, I will be the one to break through these barriers. Like, I'm going to be the one to make her feel so alive she burns. He's like, life's not black and white, it's black, white, and red. This one is more action. They have to make they're basically, I don't want to do it with spoiler, slight spoiler, but also like it's romance. So book 2 is them on the run. They have to go to Italy, so that's exciting. I always love when books go to other places. They're in another capo's place, so there's danger there. And basically the whole second book is like if Elena Lombardi is really like ready to be like a Donna. Like this first book she grew so much, but like is she ready to take on what it would take to be like really be with him? Really, like for me, the synopsis of book 2 or what really goes on, it's not questioning whether or not Elena is up to being a Donna. Elena is like a bad bitch. She's my favorite book character. Love her. She's my comfort character. She's my bestie. She's a Donna, okay? It's not like if she can handle all of this. It's like, can these two villains, these anti-heroes, like have a happy ending? And can they have it all? Dante is a capo, like of New York City. And it's like, can he give her everything she needs and keep her safe? He loves her that much. So they're both like, can we make this work? Can we have everything? but her safety and happiness is the most important thing to him. But he's also like a capo. Like, there are things, and there's still dangers that were present in book 1 that come back to play in book 2, and there's still arrangements in book 2 that have to be faced. And I promise you that whoever tries to come between them is going to suffer. You know, and it's great. It's fantastic. It's exciting. Gianna writes so well. It is flowery. Thank you, Sama, because got that word from her. She's very great at describing places. So when they're talking about driving through the coast or like going through the lemon groves, or I feel like I'm there, so it's like a nice little vacation. The spice in this book and the second book is like so good. Like 4 out of 5 stars. The creativity, the description, Gianna is fantastic. If this would be your first book by her, highly recommend. Yeah, and the second one is like how they would be together as a team. The first one is really a slow dance into accepting that this could even be a partner, because there's literally a part where she's like, I don't want love. And he's like, well, there's more than just one kind of love. I could offer you the love of a friend, the love of my body. Like, he's so amazing. Dante is the most reassuring. To me, he's the best at all the types of love. He does acts of service, physical touch, words of affirmation. I'm forgetting the other types of love, but I promise you that he does them. Gifts, yes. I think there's like 6, but if you know all of them, awesome. I bet you he does all of them. He's such, like, the thing about him is, and I love romance and I love dark romance, but he's like someone who I genuinely have like respect for. You can see even in the first book, like, he's not like this alpha guy who walks in and everyone's scared of him. And like, of course he has respected, but that's the thing, like, he's respected. He's like the general who works like a soldier alongside them. What I love the most about this couple is that he is all things fire and passion, and she's like very cold and calculated, but they support each other and they complement each other so well. This is a love story that's just, when you learn, and in the second book, you're going to learn everything that Elena's been through. So it's not like it's to excuse every behavior she's had, but like, she's really been through some stuff. Wait till you find it, because this is like the mother on in someone else's turf, and there's more drama and betrayal and spice. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And yeah, and they're beautiful. And Dante's like the first person who's ever going to love Elena completely, like love them so much that they feel alive, that they burn. Then this is for you. I hope that you're kind of interested in them now, because when I tell you that these books mean the world to me, I will talk with you endlessly about it. There's just so many layers, and it's like both exciting and fun and sexual, and it's deep and it's organic feeling, because a lot of romance that I feel like they're quick to lay on, like, okay, let's get to the love and to the stuff. But in this, it's like, she's like a person who's got trauma and is kind of like over love. So thank you so much to Charlene. Literally, like, our friendship means the world to me. I hope you know that. And you introducing these books to me and sending me this book means everything. The way that I adore it and the way that I love it is fantastic. And having you there, and you're like the only person I know who loves it the way that I do, I swear we might love it as much or more than Gianna. Like I said, I haven't read the other books. These were gifted, you know, to me first, and then I already loved Elena. So the idea of going back to like the first book in all of the series with Giselle, her sister, and her ex-fiance Daniel, like, I couldn't do that. I love her too much already. And if you've read those and you follow the whole journey, then like, awesome. But yeah, and I honestly, I'm trying to gently not be like, I cannot read Giselle's book. I'm one of 3 sisters. I would literally not be able to read that book. There's nothing in me that likes them. I don't like them. I hate them, actually. I might eventually get to Kazi, but I don't have beef with Kazi. Not really, you know. I don't know why I said not really. I don't have beef with her, but I love Elena. I cannot wait for Sebastian's book. Yeah, he's fantastic. Sebastian's their brother. So yeah, just read the series. I personally am clearly biased. I'm not ashamed of being biased. Would say literally just, you could skip to these. And then these, again, thank you so much to Charlie, and thank you to Gianna for writing it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope I convinced you to read this. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed talking about it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, editing Lachey here. Actually, I'm not editing. I was just like reviewing it. And you know, great content, right? But I really don't think I stressed enough how much I love Elena Lombardi. So I'm gonna fix that now. I'm just doing a cute little shake and shot face mask. Elena Lombardi is the queen of my heart, and she's like the queen of my life. I love her so much. Like, I think what I was trying to do was like say how she's supposed to be perceived or whatever, but like Elena Lombardi is my heart. She's my whole heart. She's never been put first. She's strong, she's smart, she's brilliant, she has great banter, she's not cowed by anything, she's very sensitive. Like, she's felt so much that she's like basically had to become this cold person to protect her perfect heart, okay? And I know I sound biased, and I'll say at the end of the video how like clearly I am biased, but I don't care. She deserved better, and from everyone, like her whole family. We could fight. They're alive, so she couldn't have done anything that bad. You know what I'm saying? I definitely stressed how much I love Dante, which is true, but like, no, Elena is the queen of my heart. I love her. She's my best friend. She's the mother everyone wishes they could have, the aunt that you dream of. She's a fairy godmother. She's everything. She's everything. She's been through so much. It's no wonder. Like, it's a wonder she's even as kind as she is. Like, she's been through so much. Of course, you have to protect your heart. You've been through that much. And I love their banter and how it continues. And she's such a quick, smart person. And one of my favorite comforting moments is in book 2 when she actually is like smiling and playful. But she was finally in a space to be happy and smiling and playful. She's never been put first. And she's perfection. And I feel a lot better now that I've done this video.